Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, everybody. Thank you for patiently waiting. Hare Krishna, Anand Jayaraman Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. I'm sorry, I was a couple of minutes late.
No problem, Prabhuji. No problem.
Connect.
Waiting for you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Shall we start, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji, we can start because we will have the recitation by the end of the session only.
Sure. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mayyam Dadati Swapantikam Vandeham Shri Guruhu Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Lalita Natamritam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhamritamsya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha kalpatarobhyascha kripa sindhubhyascha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you so much for joining this evening. I'm sure more may be joining a little later. I'll be just starting to share my screen here. Please let me know once you see my screen. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we will, I think 22nd onwards, right? Okay. Okay. So this is a conversation between our Parishit Maharaj, the bull, and the cow, right? The bull is represented by Dharma, cow is represented by earth, and basically the Kali, right, who's seen as the one with the hunter, the one with the with basically the whip, is whipping, and both bull and cow are silent. They are taking the pain, and this is the time when Parshit Maharaj, unable to bear this atrocity on the animals, basically is trying to pitch in and trying to ensure that he seeks justice. So those times, even animals were counted as praja. I think we saw in one of our shlokas that even animals were counted as one of the praja, and they need to be protected just like human beings. No atrocities committed, so no peta, nothing, but they were part of, as part of first principles, part of the praja itself. Right? So we'll take it over from there. Rajo uvacha dharmam bravisi dharmagya dharmosi vrasha rupadrik yat adharma krita sthanam sucha kashyapi tad bhavet. Yes, anybody wants to decide? Hare Krishna.
Can start reciting, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
Text 22. Raja Uvacha Dharmam Bravishi Dharmajna Dharmoshi Vrisharupadre Yad Adharma Kritastanam Shuka Shakashyapi Tad Bhavet. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The king said, O you who are in the form of a bull, you know the truth of religion and you are speaking according to the principle that the destination intended for the perpetrator of irreligious acts is also intended for one who identifies the perpetrator. You are no other than the personality of religion. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Yes, anybody wants to?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. A devotee's conclusion is that no one is directly responsible for being a benefactor or mischief monger without the sanction of the Lord. Therefore, he does not consider anyone to be directly responsible for such action. But in both the cases, he takes it for granted that either benefit or loss is God sent, and thus it is His grace. In case of benefit, no one will deny that it is God sent. But in case of loss or reverses, one becomes doubtful about how the Lord could be so unkind to his devotee as to put him in great difficulty. Jesus Christ was seemingly put into such great difficulty, being crucified by the ignorant, but he was never angry at the mischief mongers. That is the way of accepting a thing, either favorable or unfavorable. Thus, for a devotee, the identifier is equally a sinner like the mischief monger. By God's grace, the devotee tolerates all reverses. Maharaja Parikshit observed this, and therefore he could understand that the bull was no other than the personality of God, religion himself. In other words, a devotee has no suffering at all, because so called suffering is also God's grace for a devotee who sees God in everything. The cow and bull never placed any complaint before the king for being tortured by the personality of Kali, although everyone lodges such complaints before the state authorities. The extraordinary behavior of the bull made the king conclude that the bull was certainly the personality of religion, for no one else could understand the finer intricacies of the codes of the religion. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams.
Thank you so much, Mataji. So, one thing which Prabhupada straight away makes as a comment is that the fact that there is, whether it's good or anything bad that happens to it, to us, it's basically the sanction of the Lord, right? It's not that when something good happens to us, we celebrate and we say that it's all because of my doing. We know who's the doer, right? From Bhagavad Gita, we're all students of Bhagavad Gita. So there is sanction of the Lord, there is desire from the Jivatma, and then there is Prakriti, right? So we do not quite control the outcomes. So therefore, we cannot celebrate. We can feel a sense of gratitude, right? That's absolutely fine. That if something good happens, we thank the Lord. We thank Him for all the good wishes, all the nice things that He has sent our way. But we don't criticize if something goes bad. It's all in case of reverses. And Prabhupada beautifully takes the example of Jesus Christ, that when he was crucified, see, when he was celebrated and when he had so much of fan following, so many people, when Christianity was established by him, uh, it wasn't that when so much of fan following was there that he started to feel a sense of pride. He was humble then. And when mischief mongers crucified him, he was never angry at them as well, right? Uh, so it's a very good example. And um, then for a devotee, the identifier is equally a sinner like the mischief monger. Um, by God's grace, the devotee tolerates all reverses, right? See, the moment we are more accepting of the hand of the Lord, right? We become much more peaceful even in reverses. Otherwise, why do bad things happen to good people? We get caught in that dilemma, and instead of thinking forward, instead of seeing what can be done next, okay, this has come upon me now, what let's set aside all the bickerings, all the criticisms, or all the whining, and let's look at what kind of solutions we can come up with. And that can happen when we get into that positive mindset can happen only when we acknowledge the hand of the Lord. So something to be very cognizant of. And one thing here, we'll see that Prabhupada mentions that even with so much of torture done by the personality of Kali, uh, the cow and the bull, they were not basically complaining before the Lord. They were not. See, the king is being, basically, king is seen as, in this particular case, Parishit Maharaj, right? So they were not complaining to Parishit Maharaj, look at what has happened to us. And Parishit Maharaj, just by their behavior, just by their demeanor, could understand that they are all actually devotees of the Lord, right? Otherwise, they would have filled up my ears with so much of complaint that how they are being abused by this Kali personified. So something that a lot of learning for us here in this particular purport, the fact that we remain sthita pragya, right? Even when reverses come our way, we just tolerate. We basically, learn from Bhagavad Gita, right? And we become sthita pragya and continue with our business, and not whine, not basically we can ask for help, but not whining, not criticizing anybody, just taking it in our stride and moving on. That's the best way to deal with reverses. Go to the next one. Atva dev deva mayaya nunam gatir agochara Chetaso vachasaschapi bhutanam iti nishchayah. Yes. Yes, anybody?
Kusumlata Mataji is raising her hands, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
May I read, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji, please go ahead. Please go.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranams.
Dandavat, Mataji.
Text 23. Athva deva mayaya nunam gatirgochara chetaso vachas shachapi bhutana nimit bhutana nimit nischaya. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thus, it is concluded that the Lord's energies are inconceivable. No one can estimate them by mental speculation or by word jugglery. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you so much. Anybody wants to read the purport?
May I read, Prabhuji?
Yes, Archana Mataji, please go ahead.
Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. A question may be raised as to why a devotee should refrain from identifying an actor, although he knows definitely that Lord is the ultimate doer of everything. Knowing the ultimate doer, one should not pose himself as ignorant of the actual performer. To answer this doubt, the reply is that the Lord is also not directly responsible, for everything is done by his deputed Maya Shakti or material energy. The material energy is always provoking doubts about the supreme authority of the Lord. The personality of religion knew perfectly well that nothing can take place without the sanction of Supreme Lord, and still he was put into doubts by the deluding energy, and thus he refrained from mentioning the supreme cause. This doubtfulness was due to the contamination of both Kali and the material energy. The whole atmosphere of the age of Kali is magnified by the deluding energy, and the proportion of measurement is inexplicable. Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. So here, Prabhupada makes very pertinent comments. So the first thing is, nothing can happen without the sanction of the Lord. And in this particular case, who's one of the actors who's acting on behalf of the Lord is the Maya Shakti, right, or the material energy. Now, even the greatest personalities are put under confusion by the Lord, right? The fact that, though there is nothing happens without the sanction of the Lord, they basically do not, knowing the ultimate doer, one should not pose himself as ignorant of the actual performer. So that means that there is always an interim cause. See, there is a final cause, which is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and there is an interim cause. There is a cause, basically, which is a proxy to what Lord is doing, right? And that is Maya Shakti. So this Maya Shakti is under the instructions of the Lord. And so the personality of religion knew well. So in this case, personality of religion is Dharma, which is bull, knew perfectly well that nothing can take place without the sanction of the Lord. And still, he was put into doubts by the deluding energy. And thus he refrained from mentioning the supreme cause. This needs a little bit of explanation. So two things are coming out here. See, one is that though Dharma is fully aware that it's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, without whose sanction anything like this cannot happen, yet he's put under Maya, or he's put under confusion. By what? By the Maya Shakti of the Lord. And because of that, there is a forgetfulness that comes in. And because of that forgetfulness, he refrained from mentioning the supreme cause, right? So, it's like, while there is awareness that everything behind everything, there is Supreme Personality of Godhead's hand, but at the same time, the Maya Shakti keeps us guessing and confused, that we are unable to see the Supreme Personality of God's role in all that is happening in our lives. So therefore, we criticize, we bicker, we whine, and we try to we look at those interim causes and try to ascribe all the misery to that, and forgetting that it's always the Supreme Personality of Godhead that is behind this, right? Therefore, many devotees, when they come, they face any reversal in their life. One thing that they acknowledge, while they acknowledge the presence of Supreme Personality of Godhead, they acknowledge the fact that perhaps this is happening for my purification, right? Perhaps, my karmas are getting squared off. Perhaps this gives me an opportunity to basically, when without pain, there's no gain, right? The fact that when we are put through pain and we are put through some suffering, it is like the gold that goes through purification on the altar of fire, right? And the gold gets, by that tapa, the gold gets purified. So the pure devotees of the Lord or devotees of the Lord, they kind of look at those analogies and move on. And they don't stay with those sufferings, they move on. And see, this particular interpretation is so hope giving, right? The moment we look at suffering in this positive way, suffering doesn't seem like suffering after that. It seems like, okay, there are lessons for me to be learned, and Lord is teaching me those lessons through these incidents or these reversals. Let me go past and come out with flying colors and please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and acknowledge the lessons that I've learned by this, so that he becomes very, very happy, seeing the fact that his devotees basically taking those baby steps towards reaching him, right? And these, if some of us who have played snakes and ladders, we get those ladders and we also get those snakes, right? So when we are bitten by snake, we know that, okay, this is one sin or one kind of weakness in me which I need to get over, and therefore, let me persist and make sure that I reach that 100, which is Goloka Vrindavan, right? So yes, so that's one of the ways we can interpret this. So the whole atmosphere of the Kali is magnified by the deluding energy, and the proportion of measurement is inexplicable. That means we don't know whether that snake that we get bitten will get us to the number 5 or 100 or 50 or 10. So that, how much we get deluded by the age of Kali, we can't be, there's no measure to it, right? So that's something that comes out clearly. Okay, let's move to the next one. So this is one of the most famous shlokas. I'm sure there'll be bigger purport which Prabhupada has given. Tapah saucham daya satyam iti pada krite krita adharmasyaishtrayo bhagna smaya sanga madaistava.
Vrishabhanu Mataji is raising her hands, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandvat Mataji, Dandvat.
Tapah shaucham dayam satyam iti padah krute kritaha adhamashaishtrayo bhagnaha maya sangam adaistava. Translation by Sri Prabhupada Vijay. In the age of Satya, truthfulness, your 4 legs were established by the 4 principles of austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. But it appears that 3 of your legs are broken due to rampant irreligion in the form of pride, lust for woman, and intoxication. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Yes, anybody wants to read the purport?
I'll read, Padma Mataji is raising her hands, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, I'll read, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. A deluding energy or material energy can act upon a living beings proportionately in terms of the living. Sorry, can you hear me? Am I audible, Prabhuji?
Yes, you're audible, Mataji. Padma Mataji, you're audible.
Yeah, proportionately in terms of the living beings falling prey to the deluded attraction of Maya. Moths are captivated by the glaring brightness of the light, and thus they become prey to the fire. Similarly, the deluding energy is always captivating the conditioned souls to become prey to the fire of delusion. And the Vedic scriptures warn the conditioned souls not to become prey to delusion, but to get rid of it. The Vedas warn us to go not to the darkness of ignorance, but to the progressive path of light. The Lord Himself also warns that the deluding power of material energy is too powerful to overcome, but one who completely surrenders unto the Lord can easily do so. But to surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord is also not very easy. Such surrender is possible by persons of austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. These four principles of advanced civilization were remarkable features in the age of Satya. In that age, every human being was practically a qualified Brahmana of the higher order, and in the social orders of life, they were all Paramhamsas, or the topmost in the renounced order. By cultural standing, the human beings were not at all subjected to the deluding energy. Such strong men of character were competent enough to get away from the clutches of Maya. But gradually, as a basic principle of Brahmanical culture, namely austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness, became curtailed by proportionate development of pride, attachment for women, and intoxication, the path of salvation or the path of transcendental bliss retreated far, far away from the human society. Anybody else wants to read, Prabhuji? Hare Krishna, anybody wants to read? Or shall I continue?
Yes, Mataji, continue.
Okay. With the progression of age of Kali, people are becoming very proud and attached to women and intoxication. By the influence of the age of Kali, even a pauper is proud of his penny. The women are always dressed in an overly attractive fashion to victimize the minds of men. And the man is addicted to drinking wine, smoking, drinking tea, and chewing tobacco, etc. All these habits are so-called advancement of civilization are the root cause of irreligiousness. And therefore, it is not possible to check corruption, bribery, and nepotism. Men cannot check all these evils simply by statutory acts and police vigilance, but he can cure the disease of the mind by proper medicine, namely advocating the principles of Brahmanical culture or the principle of austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. Modern civilization and economic development are creating a new situation of poverty and scarcity with the result of blackmailing the consumers' commodities. If the leaders and the rich men of the society spend 50% of their accumulated wealth mercifully for the misled mass of people and educate them in God consciousness, the knowledge of Bhagavatam certainly the age of Kali will be defeated in all attempt to entrap the conditioned souls. We must always remember that false pride or too high an estimation of one's own values of life, undue attachment to women or association with them, and intoxication will divert human civilization from the path of peace. However much people clamor for peace in the world, the preaching of the Bhagavatam principles will automatically render all men austere, clean both inside and outside, merciful to the suffering, and truthful in daily behavior. That is a way of correcting the flaw of human society, which are very prominently exhibited at the present moment. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Dandapranam.
Thank you so much, Mataji. It's a very, very nice purport Srila Prabhupada has given
Yes.
on the four pillars, right? Which is tapas, socham, daya, satyam. How, with the onset of the age of Kali, how each of these pillars have been erased by the irreligiosity, right? And the irreligiosity is coming by the forms of pride, lust for women, and intoxication. We'll go through how each of these aspects of the irreligion is hampering, cutting the four legs or the three legs. The fourth leg is still like active or still there, which is the fourth leg, which notion,
Satyam.
supposedly Satyam survives, right? Even now, to be fair, people, the de facto, there is hypocrisy, there is, hypocrisy and ill truth or the lying nature is there, but that's not the default choice. Even today, when people are trying to lie, they can't keep up with the data. One of the things that is mentioned is that truthfulness is our eternal nature. We are wired as atmas to be truthful, and it takes a lot of effort to lie, actually. And even if someone lies, the hardest thing for him is to remember what he lied with, right? The data points that he gave last time. And it's very easy to call a bluff, right? You can, the next time you ask the same question, if some other version comes out, then you know for sure that there was the lies are being spread. But true, for someone to speak the truth, there is no pretense needed. It's such a natural thing for anyone to have, for anyone to do, right? So therefore, it's least stressful to be truthful, right? It's very stressful to be a liar. So it's something that we are wired as a default, right? So here, just the way moths are captivated by the brightness of light, similarly, deluding energy is captivating the conditioned souls in the fire of delusion. And Vedas is that shining torchlight, which is telling us, keeping us reminded, keeping us honest on what to do, what not to do. And essentially, there is this mention that the one thing, it's also mentioned, the Lord Himself also warns that the deluding power of material energy is too powerful to overcome. But one who completely surrenders unto the Lord can easily do so. But to surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord is also not very easy. Why it is not easy? Anybody knows? Why is it not easy to completely surrender?
Trust is not there, Prabhuji. I mean, like,
Wonderful point. Wonderful point. Bhargavi Mataji. Very nice point. Yes. Trust is not there. Yes. What else? What else stops?
We still believe that we are independently responsible for everything that is happening.
Yes.
So we are not thinking that it is being done by God. That's why we are not completely surrendering.
Though surrender, the word seems to be sir under, is colloquially also people say that, put your head under the feet of the Lord, sir under, right? Very right. Any other points to make? I heard faith. I heard the fact that we repose a lot of faith on ourselves. We think we can get over any issues. Yes. Anything else?
Pride, Prabhuji.
Pride.
That we
Yes.
are like
Yes.
having proud that we are the person,
Correct. Yes.
doer of the action.
And
Right.
Prabhuji, too many desires.
Too many desires. How does it prevent us from surrendering, Mataji?
Because when you want to, gratify your senses, then you don't think of Lord. You want to enjoy yourself. You think you're the enjoyer.
So,
Prabhu, in Bhagavad Gita it says, "No, Prabhu, bhogaishwarya prasaktanam tayapabhuta chetasam." In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment, as Mataji said, no, Prabhu, it is very difficult to achieve the devotion towards Krishna. Yes.
yes. Let's also see what is it that we need to do a surrender, right? So it comes from Bhagavatam, anukulesya sankalpa pratikulesya varjanam rakshesyeti vishwaso गोप्तृत्वे वर्णम तथा आत्मनिक्षेप कारण्ये karpanye sadvida saranagatihi. So basically, what we are saying here is the 6 aspects of surrender are acceptance of those things that are favorable to devotional service and rejection of those activities, those things which are unfavorable, conviction that Krishna will give protection, Rakshasiti Vishwaso, basically always convinced that Krishna is always there to protect. Then acceptance of the Lord as one's guardian or master. Then full surrender and humility can happen, right? So basically, practicing all these things are not so easy. We, as Mataji, you've pointed out very nicely, that we are traumatized by senses. At every moment, senses is giving us options, throwing options at us. His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj always talks about good, bad, and bad dog, right? Good dog and bad dog. And who are we feeding at every moment? Every minute we are making a decision, right? A minute is available. I have 10 minutes to spare. What do I do with those 10 minutes? Do I actually turn to pages of Bhagavatam, hear a shloka, or gratify myself? I might be going to a news site, I might be making some calls, etc., etc. So, senses are dissuading us every moment, and controlling them and dovetailing it to the service of the Lord is not so easy. And for us to be able to do that, these qualities are needed: austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness, right? Without which it's very difficult to make it happen, right? And these were available in its completeness in Satya Yuga. And later, with every yuga passing, one of the pillars goes away, right? So, which pillar goes in Treta Yuga after Satyuga? Which pillar goes? Anybody knows?
Austerity, Prabhuji.
Austerity. Not
Yeah,
quite.
you can. Okay.
Mercy. Mercy is lost in Treta Yuga. In Dwapar Yuga, anybody knows what goes?
Prabhuji,
Deity worship.
No. Which out of these four pillars, no, that we see here? Austerity,
Dharma,
Austerity,
Prabhuji,
cleanliness,
Dharma.
mercy, and truthfulness. Okay.
austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. We
Truthfulness.
said in Treta Yuga, we lose mercy, right? In Dwapar Yuga, what do we lose?
Austerity again, Prabhuji.
Yes, austerity.
Austerity.
Yes.
Okay.
So, no, mercy and cleanliness.
Cleanliness.
The first one we lost mercy, right? In Dwapar Yuga, sorry, in Treta Yuga we lost mercy. In Dwapar Yuga we lose mercy and cleanliness. Okay. In um, Kali Yuga, what all we lose?
We lost all four.
All the four.
All
Yes,
four months.
except one. There is
Except
one.
truth.
Yes.
Except truth.
All the three are lost except truthfulness. So yes. So
But Prabhuji, truth is also diminishing now.
yes. Very true. I mean, we are still probably 5,500 years into Kali Yuga. We have another 4,30,000 odd years to go, 4,28,000 odd years to go. So we don't know how bad it can get. But even now, you'll find s- a a reasonable percentage, not all good, reasonable percentage of people speaking truth, right? Of course, there are people who will lie to make some extra buck, but those are business lies, right? But generally, they'll try to be honest for most. They'll try to be truthful for most parts, right? They may lie here and there, but it's not that completely people are overwhelmed with lack of truthfulness. They are truthful in parts, right? But all these are almost gone now. In that age, every human being, practically a qualified Brahmana of the highest and the social orders of life, they were all Paramahamsas, or the topmost, because all the four were intact. So the cultural understanding, the human beings were not at all subject to deluding energy, because these four pillars, four aspects were very strong, so they were not deluded. So now the delusion starts because one of these qualities are going. And what are the irreligious qualities that are emerging, which is nullifying each of these pillars? So, for example, there's a mention that if somebody wants to be austere, what leads to among these four, right? This is more a quiz question. Uh, say, austerity, if somebody is losing austerity, what is developing that he's losing austerity? Anyone?
Attachment for women and
Oh, okay. Okay. So austerity essentially is related to development of pride. See, what typically happens is, let's say you want to be austere, you want to do Ekadasi fasting. People find it very, first of all, difficult to fast. Second is, there is this pride. Why should I fast? Right? They will fast on days when it's not required, but they will fast on days. For example, many outside may pick up birthday of particularly some celebrity or guru, or so I've seen people fasting on Mahatma Gandhi's Mahatma Gandhi's Jayanti, right? But they will not fast on Ekadasi, for example, right? So the pride is there that why should I fast? In the ego is there that prohibits one from doing austerity. What about cleanliness, which is the one which impacts cleanliness?
Attachment for women.
Yes. How do we explain that? How do we?
Prabhuji, too much of sense gratification is there in this age of Kali, Prabhuji. Though they do not see every woman as mother, they do not give respect to any women. So they treat women as an object for sense gratification. That is the main thing why so many problems are arising nowadays, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
So how is it related to cleanliness, Mataji? I see your point, but I'm trying to understand how cleanliness comes into picture there.
Multiple women.
That's true.
Yeah, illicit connection mainly.
Illicit connections. Yes, Sindhu Mataji. Yes, wonderful. So basically it's see, cleanliness here is both internal and external. Saucham is internal and external. Clean thoughts, clean actions, like that, right? First of all, the fact that not every woman is being looked at in ISKCON, we address a lady as Mataji, right? As mother, right? So that the way of that addressal itself sanctifies the relationship, right? So when I say sanctification, automatically cleanliness comes in. Right? So there is cleanliness of thought. And then cleanliness in terms of body. So association with women leaves one with very impure body. Right? It's also mentioned that association with women, multiple association and illegal and illicit association of women can also diminish one's lifespan very soon, very quickly. And then there is mercy. What is the one which strikes out mercy, which nullifies mercy? Which aspect?
Meat eating, Prabhuji.
Meat eating.
Correct, but what
Intoxication.
Intoxication. How intoxication is antonym for mercy?
Intoxication basically takes out our senses like mind, and mercy concept has been lost. We are in delusion. We are not in proper senses. So we don't know what is right or what is wrong.
Yes, wonderful point. Very nice point, Bhargavi Mataji. Yes, you're spot on. So when someone is highly intoxicated, right, he has no control on his actions. So we also know celebrities who were completely drunk and ran over people who were lying on the footpath, right? What happens is when one is completely intoxicated, the senses get cut. The reciprocation of senses is cut. So the senses are unable to alarm the person, and therefore mercy is lost, right? There's no mercy, and post fact, maybe even the fit of rage or at the spur of the moment, one may not recognize the damage done. It's only when one comes back to senses, right, when the intoxication is leaves him, when he becomes more sober and sane, that time he recognizes, oh my God, what did I do? Krishna, I shouldn't have done this, like that. So that remorse comes after the intoxication, and then he realizes the damage and the havoc that he has created. Yes, so yeah, this is a good way to basically think about this. With the
But Prabhuji, intoxication comes from mercy also, killing of animals.
Killing of animals, correct.
Yes, absolutely right. People are intoxicated with the taste of the animal flesh, right? That taste, that satisfying this small muscle which is there in our mouth, causes them to play havoc with animals' life. Yes, you're right. And yes, Mother. Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, in Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga, these four pillars were diminishing, I think. They were not now totally eradicated, is it not, Prabhuji? Even today, even Kali Yuga also, all these were in existence, Prabhuji. Of
All
course,
these-
percentage of this habits were more when compared to previous yugas. In almost all the yugas, all are diminishing and they were still they were. Is it not, Prabhuji?
Yeah, true. So what's
Kali Yuga, this as because we being the people in we were all following the four regulative principles. We are merciful, and then we are all following all those things. The thing is, percentage of people who were in Kali Yuga, they were all fully, majority of the people were passed down. Am I right, Prabhuji?
Yes, so if you take a small, you're right, Prabhu. See, if you take the percentage of people who are, when we follow the four regulative principles, we are protecting ourselves against all these four problems that have been mentioned, right? So when we essentially, when there is no illicit sex, we are working on cleanliness. When there is no intoxication, we are working on mercy. When there is no um, when there is no what else when there is no pride, we are working on austerity, for example. So Prabhupada, by giving us this beautiful four regulative principles, is actually ensuring that we become Brahminical in our conduct, in our outlook, in our nature, in our actions. And when we turn Brahminical, right, because we have adopted these four regulative principles, we are able to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And therefore, the doors for the Goloka, Vrindavan, or Vaikuntha, or they get unlocked, right? And of course, it's not like, we have also accumulated so many sins. So, but this gives us an opportunity to move in the right trajectory. And with time, obviously, there is also a statement that when you switch off the fan, the hangover remains. The fan propels itself, or it runs for some time before it stops. So similarly, those karmas will also die down over a period of time because we are in the right path. And Prabhupada has shown the way for us. He's been the torch bearer, and we have to be very grateful to what Prabhupada has done, not just by purports, but by giving us bhakti that is practical, right? So, going further on, very nice, even a pauper is proud of his penny, right? That's the way, even in Kali Yuga, that you'll find people parking big vehicles, but they may not have money to spend on fueling the vehicle, right? But they have big vehicles right outside their door. So even a pauper is proud of his penny. And man cannot check all these evils by statutory act. So here, Prabhupada, the beauty of Prabhupada's purpose is he goes to the root cause and tells how other ways of fixing the problem will not work, because this needs a reformation. It needs a change of mind. Just by artificially putting some statutory acts and police vigilance, we are not able to make this zero. Even today, see, even if there are acts, and even with police vigilance, we know how effective these instruments are, right? Police can be bribed, statutory acts can be reformed. So there you go. It's not enforcing enough. But he can be cured of the disease of mind by the proper medicine, namely advocating the principles of Brahminical nature. So we know the principles of Brahminical culture is what? The four regulative principles, right? Which is what Prabhupada is talking about. And modern civilization and economic development are creating a new situation of poverty and scarcity with the result of blackmailing the consumers' commodities. What do we understand by this?
Cigarette is not good for health, but still there is a lot of selling going on in the market, Prabhuji.
Yes, very nice. So essentially, it creates revenue for government, right? And yet, it's a catch-22 situation. See, if you completely eradicate by statutory act, as you rightly mentioned, smoking or drinking, there's a huge tax loss for the government, right? A lot of revenue loss, the GST loss. But if you allow free promotion, right, there is a disclaimer that comes illicit. Cigarette smoking is injurious to health, drinking is injurious to health, like that. So it's it's one way there is advertisement to promote it, and there is also disclaimer, right? So the government blows hot, blows cold, but doesn't take a proper action there. And then, if the leaders and the rich men spend 50% of their accumulated wealth mercifully for the misled mass of people and educate them in God consciousness, the knowledge of Bhagavatam, certainly the age of Kali will be defeated in its attempt to entrap the conditioned souls. Such a powerful statement, right? So, if at all everyone takes to Bhagavatam, everyone basically takes to Krishna consciousness. And there is this aspiration from His Holiness Jayapati Swami Maharaj that he would like to see Bangalore to be the first Krishna conscious city in the world, right? Where the spirit of Krishna consciousness is so wide and so deep that it becomes a model city for everyone. So yes, with this desire and with the endeavor of devotees, it can happen, right? And basically, if one city becomes a model city, it becomes very easy for others to follow, right? Essentially, Mahajana Yena Gata Supanta, right? Or essentially, the path is led by the leaders and others follow after that. So, but we must always remember that false pride or too high an estimation of one's own values or undue attachment to women, etc., will divert human civilization from the path of peace, however much the people may clamor for peace in the world. Right? So, we externally, people will do meditation sessions, Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. But then it's only that moment that people may experience Shanti. The moment they get up and walk towards the home, the Shanti is lost. Right? Because none of the principles hold beyond that. Right? So essentially, the preaching of Bhagavatam principles, and each of us are brand ambassadors of Bhagavatam. Right? We need to ensure that, not just us, but people to whom we are preaching, they are also able to imbibe these Brahminical qualities, that they are clean outside and inside, they are merciful, they are truthful, and they are austere. So basically, when we correct the flaws in the human society, when everyone becomes closer to ideal, automatically law situation improves. People will not basically cheat or exploit. People will, the true Rama Rajya will return, right? Because what happens is leaders come from people. So we cannot say that, oh, that politician is corrupt, that leader is basically uh, unethical, right? We can't just isolate them because they are coming from us only. So they're a microcosm of the larger population. So if the larger population is rectified by the principles and the preaching of Bhagavatam, the leaders who emerge from that will be ideal leaders, right? So Prabhupada's medicine is always deep. It's never shallow, right? I think we'll go a little fast. Idanim dharmapadaste satyam nirvatayet yatah tam jigrakshati adharmo yam antre naiditah kali anre tena ditah kali. Yes. Anybody wants to read? I don't know why there is. I see something here. Please go ahead. Anybody wants to read?
Actually, I read translation, Prabhuji.
Sorry?
Translation.
Oh,
I
okay.
can't.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't. So font is so small, Prabhuji.
Okay, okay. Oh, okay. Let me see if is this. I don't know why this mark is coming. I don't know. Okay. Is it readable now? Okay. See, let's see if it's is it readable now?
Yes, we can see, but font is so small.
Okay, then
Can I read the shloka, Prabhuji?
yes,
Prabhuji, please read sloka. I will read
Yes,
translation.
Prabhuji.
yes, yes,
Sure, Prabhuji. I'll try, Prabhuji.
yes.
Prabhuji.
इदानीं धर्मपादस्ते सत्यं निर्वर्तयेत् यतः तं जिगृक्षति अधर्मोऽयम् अनृतेनैदितः कलिः. Hare
Yes.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Yes, I don't know why this marking is coming. It wasn't visible earlier. Okay.
Prabhuji, little bit scroll, Prabhuji, upwards.
Yes.
Translation by A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Prabhupada ki jai. You are now standing on one leg only, which is your truthfulness, and you are somehow or other hobbling along. But quarrel personified, Kali, flourishing by deceit, it is also trying to destroy that leg.
Mhm. Yes, yes. Okay. Yes, let's go ahead with the translation. Purport.
Purport by A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Prabhupada ki jai. The principles of religion do not stand on some dogmas or man-made formulas, but they stand on four primary regulative observances, namely austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. The mass of people must be taught to practice these principles from childhood. Austerity means to accept voluntary things which may not be very comfortable for the body but are conducive for spiritual realization. For example, fasting twice or four times a month is a sort of austerity which may be voluntarily accepted for spiritual realization only and not for any other purposes, political or otherwise. Fasting, Fastings which are meant not for self-realization but for some other purpose are condemned in the Bhagavad Gita 17.5 and 6. Similarly, cleanliness is necessary both for the mind and for the body. Simply bodily cleanliness may help to some extent, but cleanliness of the mind is necessary and it is affected by glorifying the Supreme.
Haribol. Did I lose you, Prabhu? Hare Krishna.
Vishakha Mataji is ready to read, Prabhuji.
Yes, yes.
Krishnamurti
Hare
Prabhuji is not.
Krishna. Yes, yes. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
No one can cleanse the accumulated mental dust without glorifying the Supreme Lord. A godless civilization cannot cleanse the mind because it has no idea of God. And for this simple reason, people under such a civilization cannot have good qualifications. However, they may be materially equipped. We have to see things by their resultant action. The resultant action of human civilization in the age of Kali is dissatisfaction. So everyone is anxious to get peace of mind. This peace of mind was complete in the Satya age because of the existence of the above mentioned attributes of the human beings. Gradually, these attributes have diminished in the Treta Yuga to 3/4, in the Dwapara to half, and in this age of Kali to 1/4, which is also gradually diminishing on account of prevailing untruthfulness. By pride, either artificial or real, the resultant action of austerity is spoiled. By too much affection for female association, cleanliness is spoiled. By too much addiction to intoxication, mercy is spoiled. And by too much lying propaganda, truthfulness is spoiled. The revival of Bhagavata. Can you please?
Yes, Mataji. Yeah. Yeah. Is it visible, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. on account of prevailing untruthfulness. By pride, either artificial or real, the resultant action of austerity is spoiled. By too much affection for female association, cleanliness is spoiled. By too much addiction to intoxication, mercy is spoiled. And by too much lying propaganda, truthfulness is spoiled. The revival of Bhagavata Dharma can save human civilization from falling prey to evils of all description. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Sorry, Prabhuji, I lost my internet.
Oh,
Sorry.
no problem. No problem. Thank you, Prabhu. So here some salient points which Srila Prabhupada is calling out is, see, fasting, if it is conducive to bhakti, like Ekadasi's fasting, etc., or when we see the uh, mm, appearance or disappearance of Vaishnavas, those are all fastings which are recommended. Fasting which is politically motivated, like, to put a stunt that, oh, I want to see this road fixed, and the politicians, they stand and they do a dharna, stage something, they're eating everything, but externally they're showing as if they're fasting, right, is condemned in Bhagavad Gita, right, in 17:5-6. So here, basically, again, taking further from the previous shloka, Bhagavatam's teachings and the diminishing, the fact that we saw how in every yuga, one of the pillars are lost, right? We saw that in Kali Yuga, even truthfulness is coming under question. It's only in parts that it's still happening. There are people who are still truthful, but it's still probably that's keeping this earth running, right? And it's just matter of time. And we've been given. My belief is probably, and it's a bit of a speculation here. I would think that when Kali Yuga gets worse and worse, truthfulness will also basically deteriorate. There'll be decay in that also. And at one point, when truthfulness is almost gone, then Kalki Avatar will come and reclaim. So anyway, that's a bit of a speculation. I just thought it came to my mind. And by pride, either artificial or real, the resultant action, the austerity is spoiled. Again, it's a bit of a reiteration of what we saw in the previous shloka. Mercy is spoiled. Yeah. So the revival of Bhagavata Dharma can save human civilization from falling prey to evils, all to evils of all description. Okay. We'll go to the last one. Okay. Iyam cha bhumir bhagavata nyasituro bharasati Srimad Tad Pada Tatpada Nyasai Sarvatah Krita Kautuka.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, again it's me. Iyam cha bhumir bhagavata nyasitoru bharasati Srimad pada nyasai sarvatah krita kautuka.
Nice, Mataji. Go ahead.
Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The burden of the earth was certainly diminished by the personality of Godhead and by others as well. When he was present as an incarnation, all good was performed because of his auspicious footprints. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranams.
Thank you so much, Mataji. So, when Lord was around, right, we clearly see, right, in Treta Yuga, and Lord left just before the onset of Kali Yuga, that there was still a lot of goodness around, right? Because as long as his footprints are in the the Vrindavan, Bhuloka Vrindavan, nothing wrong can happen. See, one thing is also mentioned: the burden of the earth was certainly diminished by the personality of Godhead and by others as well. Any example how the burden of earth was certainly diminished by the personality of Godhead? This particular line.
During Mahabharata war, all the miscreants were
Yes, wonderful.
taken.
You're firing all cylinders, Bhargavi Mataji. Yes, you're right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So during Mahabharata war, just by that event, that grand spectacle of the war, he got all adharmis to be part of the Kaurava army and all dharmis, people who follow dharma, to be part of Pandavas. So he got all of them together, and it was a decimation of adharma, and therefore many who supported Kauravas, they lost life, and Pandavas prevailed. So therefore he lessening the burden of earth is basically taking care of such evil people, right? Any other examples how he diminished the burden of earth?
Even in Hare Krishna Prabhuji, in natural calamities.
Natural calamities, even good people may lose life, Prabhu, right?
Yes, yes.
Right.
Irrespective of it takes no discrimination.
Yeah, there is no discrimination. People will just lose their life, right?
Prabhuji,
Hmm.
since Yudhishthir Maharaj was ruling and Parikshit Maharaj was ruling, many of the, all dharma was followed. Each and every denizen were protected. So that was also a reason that that Kali was not in that reign. Hare Krishna.
Very nice point. So, Mataji, you're addressing this part and by others as well, right? By ensuring, like, just after with Lord and during and after his disappearance, there were great kings like Yudhishthira Maharaj, Parishit Maharaj, and there's a huge commentary around the qualities of Parishit Maharaj. He couldn't tolerate even animals like the cow and bull getting tortured by the Kali personified, and he stepped in and he wanted to protect them, right? So, and Yudhishthira Maharaj's golden era, right? The way he ruled, the way he conducted himself, and the way he, he's Dharmaraj himself, right? So, what more can we expect? Um, and um, yes, so as long as Lord was there, in fact, all of us were, I mean, of course, we are still protected because we chant the holy names of the Lord, right? So anything, even it's mentioned, right, that even if we are faced with the bereavement of our kith and kin, and we are sitting next to the departed soul, who's just bodily there, uh, we chant the holy names of the Lord, right? That specific place, which is supposed to be inauspicious because the death has occurred, just by chanting, the whole equation changes, right? So it's so potent that not just his footprints, which are very, very auspicious, right? We see all the auspicious signs in Lord's footprint, but even in his absence, right, where we can't see him personally or in person because the yuga has passed by, we are in Kali Yuga, right? He's available to us with the chanting of holy names, right? He's available to us. He's given us a very easy access by his names, which is non-different from the form of the Lord, non-different from his pastimes, non-different from his other names, right? So let's chant once together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare
Hare.
Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare
Ram, Hare Hare.
Yes, with this, we come to a closure for today's evening class. Thank you so much for your patient hearing. And yes, any questions? I know we are already late. We're already 11 minutes past, but
Prabhuji, just one question. Just want to ask you. When we say the political fasting, it can be called satyagraha.
Mhm.
Is that satyagraha?
Satyagraha is a name that we have coined, right? For most parts, right? So, see, we call um, Mahatma Gandhi. The definition of Mahatma itself is very different when you go into the pages of Bhagavatam. So there are, people have given themselves titles, or people have been conferred, others have conferred such big, lofty titles. with no real basis, right? So,
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, so these are human definitions. These are not definitions given by Bhagavatam or by some great personality, right? So we can kind of be a little lenient towards that. We don't have to take that seriously.
Political fasting, Prabhuji.
Yeah, political fasting. So, people do it for their own, a simple example, Mataji. So when people fast, they wouldn't fast if there is no media coverage, right? They're doing fasting
Yes.
to get a media coverage. So there'll be 5 cameramen, 7 news channels which will, roam around them looking
Publicity.
publicity. So the intent and outcome is very different. They never wanted to fast. They were using fasting to drive all this behavior, right? They want to be on the news channel. They want to be famous, right? So consider this, and it's given in our scriptures that one needs to fast during Ekadasi. But do we see devotees going out with a placard saying, "Today's Ekadasi, I'm fasting," and they make a pomp and show?
No, no.
No, we do fasting, we keep it to ourselves, right? In fact,
Yeah.
people don't even, I know a lot of devotees who fast from water also, Mataji, but they never make a
Yes.
pocket show out of it. They will just say, if water is offered, sorry, Prabhu, today I can't consume. Only that much, right? They're not say how great I am. I'm fasting from water also today, right? Look at these unfortunate souls, they can't. Nobody's making a pomp and show out of it. They are just keeping it
Mm.
to themselves. They play it low. They play it down. So, anything else, Mataji and Prabhuji?
No, Prabhuji. Just a clarification. Thank
Sure.
you, Prabhuji.
Thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Actually, the people in the who are living in the age group of 30 to 50, they all feel that eating non-veg is not bad. Even those who are born in a Brahmin family, they eat non-veg nowadays. This is the thing going on nowadays. What we see is first initially they were going out to eat non-veg. Nowadays they are cooking in the home itself.
Very,
When the in-laws passed away, they have nobody to control, so they are cooking in the house itself. Many people are like that. Then the age group which is from 18 to 25 and 28, those student life and those who have just completed the college, they are all saying that living in relationship is not at all wrong.
mm,
They say that they are born to enjoy. Even girls, everybody, not like only boys, everybody are like that. So that age group is like that. We don't know what is going to happen in the next generation. It's very, very bad nowadays. That is the school going children. I don't know what. In the school where I was working, the 11th standard, 12th standard students, they are all looking at the movies and they are kissing each other and all that. So many complaints like that in 11th standard students. So we don't know what is going to happen next. It's very, very bad day by day, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
very, very true, Mataji. It's a very deplorable condition that we are in. People, this illicit sex has become a school reality. Not even people are even not crossing their teens, right? So, so, that's why Srila Prabhupada's medicine, right, of the four regulative principles is so priceless, right? It's just that people have to take to Krishna consciousness. And that's the desire of our acharyas, of our spiritual masters, that we spread the word. We do not keep all the goodness to ourselves. See, when we look at us individually, we may not be so potent, but as collective, we are very, very potent, right? When so many of us kind of go around. Today, this morning, when I was reaching office, so I was traveling in a lift with someone, and someone immediately said, "Do you follow ISKCON? I can see a Kantimala." So, what I'm trying to say here is that people are now becoming aware that there is this such movement which is happening. People are able to recognize.
Yes, so true, Prabhuji. So
Yeah.
true.
So it will see. I can't say that Kali Yuga will be beaten because of this movement. Can't say that because even this movement will live for 10,000 years as per Shastra. So yes, we have this golden era in a iron age, right? And let's make sure that this golden era we take as many souls as possible back to Godhead. And of course, we need to make sure that it starts first with us before we extend the generosity to others, right?
Yes,
So,
Prabhuji. I think how it will be helping us is that the more and more we are in this, the consciousness will change.
yes,
We
yes,
will not be prone to do mistakes. I think if everyone follows it, it will be nice. But
yes, yes. It's, you know, again, it's Lord's plan.
yeah,
He has given everyone free will, right? Mataji, you were sharing, I think, Bhargavi Mataji or Archana Mataji. I think Archana Mataji was sharing that how Brahmin people coming from Brahminical class, they are now formally cooking non-veg at their house. There are no elders to supervise, right? See, that is a free will Lord has given. Now, if they come with a chance meeting with a devotee and somehow they take to Krishna consciousness, or even if they have met a devotee. See, one thing which I was hearing one of the lectures from His Grace Amrendra Prabhu. He was mentioning a very nice point. He was mentioning that when one takes to Krishna consciousness, 21 generations, they are taken care of.
yeah,
All of us have heard
yes,
this.
yes, sir.
How do we explain this? Is it that,
The whole family is benefited.
yes,
The whole
how do we,
generation.
is it that when one person takes to Krishna consciousness, the 21 generations without they doing anything, they get delivered? Is that how we should interpret?
Yes, we can also interpret.
Okay.
But Prabhuji, the main thing is they are not
I had that
because
understanding.
they simply say they have no time.
Yeah.
They have no time. That's
So
the thing.
what Prabhuji qualified, in fact, some of the other senior Vaishnavas I heard, see, it's not a de facto cleansing. What happens is they're given an opportunity wherein they may get a chance meeting with a devotee. They may get that opportunity. Now, whether they take full advantage of the opportunity is still a free will, right? So when we take to Krishna consciousness, all of us, our Pitrus, our generations who left before us, we give them an opportunity to get delivered because they will get an opportunity because we are doing things like this. So what I'm trying to say here is that if more and more get engaged in Krishna consciousness, right? I was also talking about Bangalore becoming one of the Krishna conscious capitals in the world, or Krishna conscious city in India. If we turn around in one city, and when people learn by data, people learn by behavior, people learn by contact, people learn by acharan, right? So not everything is lost. If there are really good examples that come to fore, like there are model cities that people talk about. People talk about which cities, for example, there is this cleanliness index that India score, that's measured in India. Mostly Indore scores quite high, yeah, ahead of other cities. So people know that Indore is a good city in terms of cleanliness. So similarly, at some point, if we are able to measure it in terms of Krishna consciousness index, right? And then that kind of healthy competition happens that every city wants to clamor and get there. I think we'll be in a good place. It's just a desire. Not sure how far we'll go.
Yes, Prabhuji. I was also wondering, like nowadays, no second marriage and all is becoming very common. Second marriage, third marriage. But Prabhupada himself, he left his wife, but he was very particular, no, Prabhuji. Like you should not keep changing your partners.
Yes,
Whatever partner is destined to you, you should live with that partner only till the end.
that's correct, Mataji.
That was his policy, right?
Yeah, see, Srila Prabhupada is an exemplary devotee, and he's an empowered guru, right? Basically, there's so many things to learn from his life. See, Srila Prabhupada, basically, one of the things when he left his wife was that he took to sannyas ashram. Okay? Now, with that ashram, anyway, that bond would have been severed, right? And basically that freedom to do the kind of service and the lofty achievements that he could achieve. And he made a difference to every one of our lives, each one of our lives. So we should thank God that Prabhupada came in our life. He basically transformed our lives. He has turned it around in a way that we know what's the right purpose, how should we lead our lives, and how we can still be happy with. See, typically with austerities, there is this thing that people say is that it's misery, it's full of misery. So much of austerity. You can't eat hundreds of things, right? No onion, no garlic, no liquor, no tea, coffee. Uh, why are you leading a life, right? When everything that sense gratifies you is out of the equation. How do we explain such people? What is it that uh, we can tell? Any thoughts?
Can you please repeat again
Yeah.
the question?
I know. Yeah. So the question I have is, many people who sense gratify may look at us and say, you don't eat onion garlic, you don't eat non-veg or anything else, you don't even drink tea, coffee, forget about um, liquor. Why do you live? What is it? You everything is in your not to do list, right? So how are you still happy?
Prabhuji, this is happening for me every day. Every day
Yeah,
people ask me this question. Even my
Okay.
mother, Prabhuji, my mother, I tried to pull her inside ISKCON.
Hmm.
She's chanting 8 rounds now, but
Hmm.
she has not given away onion garlic.
Hmm.
But she is still telling me garlic has so many benefits.
Hmm.
She said from Google, these are the benefits of eating garlic. Why are you not eating? I am very much worried that my daughter is not eating garlic. She is worried because that has
you
more health
feel
benefits,
everywhere.
and she says that I will get any disease because of not eating garlic.
Prabhuji,
Hmm.
in my personal experience, I see that eating garlic and onion,
Hmm.
really, it's making me little more ignorant, kind of, not ignorance,
Calm down.
mode of ignorance. We'll
Hmm.
go more, I'll be like, let me take laziness.
Hmm.
Let me take rest for today. I'll not put any
Hmm.
evening deepa one such things, Prabhuji.
Hmm.
So Saturday, when I tried previously, I see that there is a lot of difference in my mindset.
Hmm. Yes, Mataji. Keep continuing with that.
Maybe, yeah, maybe it's my personal. Uh, maybe my mind is like that. Maybe I prepared myself like that, but that's my personal feeling, Prabhuji.
Mataji, I'll give a very, there are, of course, when anyone consumes onion garlic, there are so many things. There's a huge lecture. I mean, we can go through what Amarendra Prabhu has delivered. He's looked at it from history. He's looked at it from health perspective. He's looked at it from spiritual perspective. He's looked at it from all angles. Right? It's a complete class on that, which I'm happy to share that in case. But you can do just onion garlic discourse, and you can say Amarendra Prabhu, you'll find it. Right? Go through that, and see, even when someone consumes this onion garlic, the sting that one gets, right? If he has had something,
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, true.
it's just unbearable,
Sweat
right?
smells.
Forget about anything else,
The
right?
sweat, the sweat smells, Prabhuji. Mouth smells.
Mouth smells. It really stings, right? And you just want to be
Yeah.
you just want to be away from that person, irrespective of even if he's
Yes.
speaking something sweet. You just want to stay away from him, right? So
Yes, true.
when a reaction is so repulsive, right? We can imagine, right? If something like this, we are able to just by our instincts, we are able to figure that out. Same with someone who drinks. Someone who drinks, you can actually feel the stink, even if he's at a distance, right? And you'll immediately pull away. That stink, you can't deal with it, right? So something that is so repulsive in its first exposure, right, uh, is a good enough indicator. I'm just saying that in addition to all which Amarendra Prabhu has mentioned, this is like a simple litmus test, right? Yes, Mataji, I know we've crossed, quite, we've spent a lot of time. Anything else is there? We'll end the class today. basically, we'll basically end the class. Amla Purana, Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Dandavat
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat pranam.
Krishna.
Dandavat.